Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. So I've been asked about my big wheel. Why don't I turn one of my 200Xs into a big wheel? And I said, well, I kind of have one. This is the Suzuki version of it. And I'll show you the plate right here. Basically, this thing came through as a two-cycle bike. It was street legal back in the day. You can see the sticker that was here. And when I got it, it did not come with the seat, and it did not have any engine on it. I got the engine from, I believe it was a C90 or a C, I believe it was a C90. I think that's a 90cc engine on there. The jug looks like a 90 or a 110. Anyhow, and the story on that bike was I very rarely sold anything. I just am not into selling my stuff. And I kind of needed money, and I sold this kid's father. It was a yellow, call it a C90. And the kid just tormented that, just wrecked that poor bike. We used to call it the Chucky bike because it had the sticker on it from "Here's Chucky." Anyway, he just wrecked it, and at some point he wrecked it to the point where if you're familiar with that bike, it would swing out, or actually the starter stayed out and the head would swing, and he snapped the head off the starter, so all he had was this sharp shaft sticking up that he would kickstart it, and his leg slipped off of that, and he really tore himself up pretty good. And from there, the father gave me a whole bunch of grief, and I'm like, first of all, I didn't sell the bike to the kid, I sold it to you. And secondly, what was he doing, you know, trying to kickstart it with a broken starter? And lastly, how is it my responsibility that he broke the starter? So anyhow, I had quite a bit of grief with him, and since then I've really not been one to really sell anything. But given that bike, besides having the starter torn up, the front suspension and front forks were battered and everything else, eventually I ended up with it back. I think I sold it for a couple hundred, and I think I gave him $50 and I got it back. So that gave me the engine, and I believe I borrowed these from a CT70, and I had the engine, and then I just put like those bars there so I can bolt the engine on. And then underneath where the foot pegs go, these bars came up and they're supporting it from underneath, and I just used the original holes and so forth just to kind of bolt it up. I actually rode this thing a few times. Didn't ride it much. I would just kind of set a pillow here and sit on it. It was really pretty cool to ride because it was so low to the ground. And it was with the bigger tires on it and so forth. Even though the ground clearance wasn't huge, I mean, maybe it's got 7 inches of ground clearance, it would pretty much hop over a lot of stuff. It was geared down pretty low. The transmission on it doesn't have the extra high low, right? It's just a 3-speed. But it was just, you know, at the time it was a pretty cool build, and I did enjoy it. But like a lot of projects. This is a project from, oh man, all of 30 years ago that kind of never got finished. So here's my big wheel. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it. John, I hope you're not too disappointed. I want to thank you all for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember to keep your feet down, your heads up, and I want you all to get out there and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.